G'day folks, and welcome to part 9 of my 100 Reasons to Visit the Solomon Islands series, where today we are talking wrecks. The Solomons saw a ton of action during World War II, and not surprisingly, there are loads of wrecks to explore. Not all Solomon's wrecks are World War II vintage though. In this film, I'll show you my top 10 favourites. Hirokawa Maru, also known as Bonegi I, was a Japanese resupply ship that was beached to unload cargo. It was bombed by the Americans and never left the beach. Now it is one of 3 wrecks along that stretch of beach, and it's a cracking dive site which spans from the surface down to about 56 metres, and the shallow areas are covered in soft corals and anemones. The surrounding dark sand is a great habitat for macro critters. Bonegi II, the Kinugawa Maru. Like its neighbour, it was a cargo ship that was bombed while unloading on the beach. After 60 years of laying on the bottom, the wreck is covered in life and ranges in depth from the surface down to more than 50 metres. The small parts of wreckage surrounding the ship are also fully encrusted and are cleaning stations for visiting fish. 83. The B17 Flying Fortress, made famous in the recent Apple series Masters of the Air, where they did all sorts of damage to Germany. These bombers also ran amok in the Solomons, terrorising the Japanese, and in this case crashing into the sea near the capital Honiara. It's a shallow wreck on a sandy slope with excellent fish and encrusting life. Number 84, Mbike wreck, was deliberately sunk for tourism right next to the beautiful little island of Bike. She sits perfectly upright and is a macro photographer's paradise. Encrusting critters provide the background colour, and you'll almost always find the spectacular dusky Nambrotha nudibranchs, along with other beauties like mantis shrimp and dottybacks. 85. Mavis seaplane was part of a Japanese seaplane base near the old capital of Tulagi, which was bombed by Allies while at anchor. The natural harbour has a silty bottom at around 30 metres and excellent fringing shallow reef full of interesting critters. 86. The wreck of the Anne in the Russells was an island freighter deliberately sunk to create an artificial reef. Huge open cargo holds are worth exploring. She is perfectly positioned and covered in huge elephant ear sponges, which make great wide-angle subjects. Schools of fish and diverse macro life live on the wreck, and the shallow reef slope full of critters is an interesting place to finish the dive. 87. Maru No. 1 in Marovo Lagoon. It's one of the many unnamed wrecks in the Solomons. This freighter was sunk at anchor and sits in around 25 metres of water. The lack of light in this protected bay has limited the hard coral growth, but the black corals and encrusting sponges and algae provide the colour and structure for excellent macro critters and images. 88. Maru No. 2 in Marovo Lagoon. It was torpedoed and sunk in about 26 metres. The ship's huge, mostly empty cargo holds are home to groupers and black coral trees full of oysters and interesting macro life. 89 is the Seghe P-38 and Douglas dive bomber plane wrecks, which are within swimming distance of each other. They have crashed in shallow water just after takeoff or overshooting the landing strip and are covered in beautiful Dendronepthia soft corals. It's an inshore protected habitat as far as critters are concerned, so we find an unusual set of species like the beautiful copper-band butterfly fish, Kelman rostratus. Number 90, the upright tuna boat, the Tayo, is without a doubt the strangest wreck I've ever dived on. The ship was a brand spanking new tuna longliner on its maiden voyage when it hit a reef in Nono Lagoon. If that wasn't a big enough cock-up, the attempted salvage also went sideways, and she slipped off the edge of the reef stern first and landed luckily on a ledge around 37 metres down, leaving the bow just a few metres below the surface. The tiny ledge stops the wreck sinking into thousands of feet of depth. Hard corals compete for sunlight on the shallow sections, while sponges and soft corals cover the deep bits. Well, that's it for this one. Stay tuned for 10 uniquely Solomon experiences as my final 10 reasons to visit the Solomons in 2024.